Hey guys, Brandon Burbank here. Thank you so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel, Birdman Burbank on YouTube. And I'm really excited because today I've got a lot of good questions that I formulated for you guys to help ponder and reflect upon in your life. And hopefully you'll be able to take away some connections as well as some realizations that will help you in your own personal life and your journey, as well as the development for within yourself so that you can create results and create resiliency so that you can become happy and successful in your own life. With that being said, let's dive right into it. And the first question is, what is your educational background? For me, my educational background is I graduated from high school with a 3.5 GPA, as I talk about in my book, recently published, Come Back to Success. And then I also graduated from the community college in Bellingham, Washington. It's called Whatcom Community College. Now, this was a good college because it helped me grow and explore my options, as well as study abroad and learn more about how to just become successful through business and then transferring on to another university, which I didn't end up finishing, but it still gave me some more experience as well in the academics setting. And then, what is your career-related background? I have a lot of experience in the grocery retail industry, in fact over 4 years to be exact, and as well as being able to work primarily as the cashier and courtesy clerk. Now, they were both good opportunities to grow and to help develop myself, and so yeah, overall, and then also with the sales industry for automotive sales, selling as a car salesman. And then the next question is, what makes you credible to talk around mental health? Well, primarily because I was diagnosed at the age of 19 with bipolar disorder, and so that's something that's really had a huge impact in my life, as a lot of you may know by now. So being able to give you that insight and that direction is going to help, I think it's going to help millions of Americans, and globally speaking as well, for trying to create results and resiliency so that they can become stabilized and helpful and just in a better mood and mindset. And then steps for a successful recovery from a mental health diagnosis. Now, nothing is perfect in life, so one of the things that I've learned through my journey thus far is that you really need to focus on one thing at a time. And it can get really overwhelming if you think about the big picture too much. Like, it's important to think about it, but give yourself a break to just focus on one thing after the next, and just being patient, and also that self-belief, that inner belief within yourself that you can get to where you want to go in your development. Not necessarily recovery, not necessarily your recovery, just your whole personal development in your journey of life, because we all have that journey, and whether you be having problems with your mental health or your physical health, those are all journeys that you have to take to develop yourself to get to that next level where you can say you're happy and content. Now, that takes time to develop, and it takes a lot of ambition as well to try and attempt to pursue that goal. Now, the next question focuses on, how can family and friends be supportive for someone who was diagnosed with a mental health condition? So family and friends can be just the most supportive by being able to just be open-minded and helping to give perspective and give reflection on what the individual is going through and how they are trying to create something in their lives that's like stable, and that gives them a sense of stability in their life, because that's something that we all want to have in our lives. And then the next one, how does having a positive mindset and perspective in life leverage better opportunities for growth and recovery from a mental health diagnosis or dual diagnosis? So with that being said, the mental health diagnosis is the positive mindset for things. It really helps to have a positive mindset, and when you have that positive mindset, it gets you farther than you can imagine. And I know from my experience, when I have a positive mindset, it helps me go even further in life than I can even imagine. And I know that one thing for sure is that the positivity, that the energy you put out to the world, it's going to come back at you tenfold with the energy that you put out to the world. So focus on one day at a time, and as you continue to develop yourself and your journey, start looking at what you're doing in your life to develop that and make that happen. Career-related advice for a better sense of purpose. We're moving on to the next question now. Career-related advice for a better sense of purpose and direction when faced with a mental health diagnosis. So, if you, for example, say like when I got out of the hospital, I was struggling to find out what direction I needed to go with my career path in life, and so it was hard to kind of transition into that and make adjustments that would help further that goal. So I had to kind of move from one step to the next, and eventually I found my niche, which is writing this book, and then going from that book to the next goal for my business. And so now here I am. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that it takes time. That's the big thing. And it's also a matter of how you give yourself some insight and some trying new things that helps you get more well-rounded as a human being. Because if you're more well-rounded, you're able to be more successful, because you're able to have that awareness that a lot of people don't have. The next question is, what are some of the remedies that can help structure a successful recovery from a mental health struggle? As I touched upon earlier, a little bit about the struggles with recovery from a mental health diagnosis or anything. It really primarily focuses on, hi doggy, it really focuses on the whole concepts around how you can be whoever you want to become, and it's up to you to decide what your future is like. And the inner belief, like I mentioned earlier, because when I had that inner belief, I remember the first morning when I woke up from the psych ward, I looked into the picture with a bunch of famous people and like really successful people, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be up there one day. And as I was looking at that picture, I was crying my eyes out, but for darn sure, it looks like my life is going that way, because I believe that I'm making a positive influence and changes in a lot of people's lives, and I believe that I'm going to make that happen because of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and what I'm saying, and especially the actions that I'm taking. So that's the best way that I can show to you guys as the viewer how it really takes effort, and it takes that inner belief. And the next question is, what are some of the steps to recovering and transitioning to life when being in the psych ward? So that's a big question, because the psych ward was a really difficult place, and I think in order to answer that question for a lot of the viewers out there, it's important to understand what the psych ward is, because the psych ward is like a destabilization department in the hospital. Most hospitals, almost all hospitals have it, to help people who have had mental health problems, or ranging from all types of things, and it's basically helps people get recovered and stabilized, because there's a lot of people that go really crazy, go really wild, and it's important to have that sense of structure and stability where people can, recharge your batteries and focus on what you need to do, and then you can, once you get out of the hospital, then you can focus on what are some more real life goals that are attainable yet also ambitious to help you get to the next goal. And that's what I found. But back to the question now that you have that synopsis and that definition of the psych ward, I can answer it a lot better, because the steps to recovering and transitioning to life when being in the psych ward is really a matter of how you choose to embrace who you are, and you embrace yourself, being yourself in every aspect of your life. And it's hard to do, but if you can do that, you'll be able to become more resilient and more happier as a person, because if you embrace who you are and you aren't like neglecting the parts of you that aren't worth sharing to the world, when they actually are more than they're special. And it's up to you to realize that, and it's only you that can really make that decision to when you want to feel like you can express who you want to be and who you are to the world. Because a lot of the times people, and even regardless of your mental health, a lot of the world these days doesn't look at you and say, okay, we don't want to see you become a superstar. Whereas you have to believe it in yourself in order to make that happen. And the next question, the final question is, what are some of the best ways for an individual with a mental health diagnosis to come back to success and personally develop themselves? So personally develop themselves is probably the key words in the question, because when you personally develop yourself, you're actually taking action and making moves, making decisions that's going to help you progress in your journey of life. And from my experience thus far, it's really a matter of how you persevere through the difficult times, and how you can stay resilient and stay actively pushing forward and letting the momentum push you forward when you feel like there's not a lot of progress that's been made. So that's a big concept to think about, and I wanted to leave you guys with that tonight, because it's an important thing to think about, especially as we continue to develop ourselves, and everyone's growing, everyone's constantly moving on, doing something, and so there's just so much to be thought of when you're taking action, when you're making moves that will help reflect yourself and on your image and your career path and your goals. So with that being said, let's wrap this video up for today, and thank you so much guys for watching this video and tuning in on my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and look forward to hearing you guys' perspectives. I also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I published a new book. It's called Come Back to Success, Relentless Commitment for a Better Tomorrow, and it's published on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon Books, or you can Google search my name, Brandon Burbank, Amazon Books, and it will come up. So thank you so much guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you for your support. Take care.